I've been putting out the feelers ever since our video last week. Hey, we kind of took the week off ourselves here at the Michigan Football Report, but I've got some information. I think a 5-star commit could be happening very soon for Sherrone Moore's program, which will be his first 5-star commit as Michigan's head coach. We are also going to talk about this story, right? What do you think of Warde Manuel and Jeek Shengelis? Warde Manuel, Michigan may consider advertising in the big house to raise revenue. I don't like it. I'm going to tell you more about that later in today's Michigan Football Report. We have done this for 4 seasons running. Didn't really work against Texas, Jack, did it? We know who to blame for that. Also didn't work against Washington. Also have banned that person from the show. So don't be the next one to be banned. Like the video. Don't jinx it. Just put out the good vibes because, hey, if you don't like this video and Michigan were to lose to Illinois coming up on Saturday, 3:30 on CBS, I am blaming you. That's right, you, for that loss. Michigan season, is it riding on Jack Tuttle going forward? And I've got a little interesting theory that I've been thinking about all week about the Washington game. Tuttle coming in, Alex Orji. It's all those stories and more. We've got a jam-packed Michigan Football Report coming up right now. My name is James Yoder, the host of today's show. Jack, the people in the comments last week, James, were you wearing a hat? Where is that luscious, beautiful, not receding hairline at all? Where is it? Where has it been? I said this. They lose to Washington. I'm not combing my hair until this team wins another ball game. So you lose, I'm going hat until then because, in my advanced age, there's a little maybe slight receding in things. It does take a little manipulating to make sure that all the the old age is covered up. I'm doing like a comb over here at this point, so I'm going hat until further notice. Today, though, is a milestone day in the Yoder family. Milestone birdie. Now, I'm not going to out the woman in the picture there with me. Jack, you were there right next. I think you actually took this photo, Jack. National championship game. That is my sister, Carla. I won't out her in how old she is because you never reveal a woman's age, right? That kind of thing. But join me, a milestone birthday in someone's life. My sister, Carla. Today is her birthday. Michigan superfan. Was at the national title game with Jack, myself, Chase, and Brett, and was absolutely loving it, having herself a good old time. Give her a happy birthday to Carla down in the comments. Let's talk about this 5-star commit, though, right? 5-star sister, 5-star commit. I got a 5-star sister, Jack. I may also have a non-5-star sister. I won't talk about that, though. We keep it clean here on the Michigan Football Report. 5-star commit could be happening soon. Was starting to get word of this late last week, and it has kind of hit a fever pitch. Wanted to do a video yesterday, but now we've got a little more information, and here we are on a Wednesday. Andrew Babalola. I love that last name. I'm like, does that say Balboa? No, it's Babalola. My dog's name is Lola, so I kind of like this guy already. He is a massive offensive tackle. Overland Park, Kansas, number 25 overall player in the 2025 recruiting class. I have been told in the last 48 hours that Michigan should expect a commitment from him, whether public or silent. You know how sometimes these things are silent commitments, in the next 72 hours, and that was told me to be yesterday, so that kind of leads me to believe this could happen before Saturday's game against Illinois. Now, Michigan's got a lot of catching up to do to catch the number 1 team in college football recruiting. That is Ohio State. 26 commits. They're the number 1 2025 class. Sign day, Jack. It's about 2 months away, right? I actually think it's like December 5th this year. They're moving it up to avoid the playoffs. So signing day is like 6-7 weeks away. Michigan, the number 16 class. Keep it rolling here in the top 10. Texas, they're in the SEC, number 6 class. Tennessee, Texas A&M, Oregon. Go back to the top 5 really quick for me, Jack, because I actually noticed a trend here, which is kind of interesting. Big 10, SEC, continue on. SEC, Big 10, right? West Coast schools. So 7-3, and then you go Oklahoma, SEC, Miami. So you get your first non-Big 10 SEC at number 12. Then Notre Dame, Penn State, Michigan. So I think that's 7 or 8. It's 8 Big 10, 8 SEC schools, and I think that the math goes there. 5 Big 10 schools in there, unless I miss one. At the top 15 classes. So keep an eye out for this one, right? This is the first-year coach bump, right? Sherrone Moore, unfortunately for him, didn't get really to recruit at all last year, right? Jim Harbaugh had gone to the Chargers, but maybe a week or so before the second signing day. That really doesn't matter with college football. And because Michigan had so many guys leaving, because Michigan had such big games in September, right? You had Texas on September 7th. You had USC on September 21st. I think Sherrone Moore has kind of been caught off guard by what it takes to bring in a big recruiting class. This class started slow, then they pick up some momentum during the summer, but nothing's really happened since the season starts, and that has got to change over the next 6 weeks. Michigan's got a couple, a home game coming up at the end of the month with Michigan State. Night game, which might cause some problems themselves, would be great to get some momentum coming into that next home game, that next opportunity to woo some commits with a commit from a 5-star offensive tackle, beat out the likes of Auburn and Oklahoma and Stanford and a few others. So keep an eye out. Andrew Babalola, number 5 or 6 offensive tackle in the country, 5-star, number 25 player overall outside position from Overland Park, Kansas. Might be Sherrone Moore's first 5-star commit. Quick ask for you guys. Go ahead and do it. Hit that subscribe button right below today's video. It is the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Young Harbaugh, Jack Tuttle, and I bringing you, as many Michigan football videos as we can these days. Jack, I've been pulled off. They've got me interviewing people for jobs right now. What is management doing in this company? Taking me away from these fine Michigan football fans. Let's talk about the game, though, against Illinois on Saturday. Nationally televised game, right? There was a great slate of games. I've actually enjoyed college football outside of Michigan losing to Texas and, of course, Washington. But it seems like there's been just a big-time game every single week this year of games you don't normally get, right? Last week it was Oregon, Ohio State. You had, obviously, Michigan, Texas. You had Georgia, Alabama, which hadn't really happened much in the regular season. You got Alabama, Tennessee this week. You got a ton more games like this coming up. You got Texas, Georgia this week. Michigan is a 3.5-point favorite over the number, I think, 22, 21 Illinois team, whereas Michigan is just still squeaking there inside the top 25. Not a lot of scoring expected this game, an over-under of 43.5. I want to hear your predictions on the score. Go down in the comments. Give me your score prediction. Let's see what you guys are thinking. I'm going to say this, right? I'm feeling a little Tuttle confidence, Tuttle time. I'm not doing too crazy. I'm going to go 23-17 Michigan. Jack, you got a quick score? You got 10 seconds.
17-7 Michigan.
17-7 Michigan from Jack. I'm 23-17. Predict yours down in the comments. Of course, tell us who's going to win as well, although I assume that is going to be Michigan if you're watching this show. How about this guy? You saw my video Saturday night, Jack. Got like 200,000 impressions. People are trying to make fun. Oh, your hair sucks. You're going, you know what? I was laying on the couch, okay, I had a hat on all day. My hair is spiky. I knew what I was doing. I was crying because Ohio State lost, and crying day continues to make excuses for every single loss he has at the helm of the rival program. 3 straight to Michigan, can't get over the hump, like 1-7 against top 5 teams. Now, the NCAA is changing the rule. You see this tweet we just pulled from Ohio State blog 11 Warriors. Response to Oregon, seemingly purposefully, which they kind of joked about at the press conference Monday, purposely put 12 men in the field to run some clock down. The NCAA is now, it seems, starting immediately, going to give offenses the option to reset the clock. So 10 seconds on the clock, call penalty, 4 runoff, 6 seconds would happen to Ohio State. May have cost them the game because, right, the players slid with 1 second, couldn't get a timeout, and Ohio State and Ryan Day continue to cry. Just a bunch of soft program, Ohio Soft University. I have no respect for Day. He loses every single game the same way. Go back to that Georgia game in 2022, right? New Year's Eve, college football playoff. Same exact scenario. They've got 1st and 10 with like 30 seconds left at their own 28-yard, or at the opponent's 28-yard line, 27-yard line, and somehow they just keep going back, can't even get a reasonable field goal off. They missed that one by 25 yards wide left. This one, they had to go back, penalty, et cetera, et cetera. Didn't even get a field goal taken care of. Crying day. I think Michigan's going to beat you no matter what people say. I just think Michigan's got the mind control over Ryan Day. Michigan has a new captain. That is Josiah Stewart. Never really seen this before. I think once or twice during Rich Rod or Hoke era, they named like weekly captains, or we're going to name captains like, all the captains like after 3 games or something like that. Or I think one year actually Rich Rod did it after the season, which is kind of crazy, defeats the purpose. But Josiah Stewart has kind of been named a mid-season captain. Now one of 5 captains for this Michigan football team, adding to the 4 that were named in the preseason. Donovan Edwards, Max Bredesen, who I actually love. I think is the best tight end / fullback, really more of a fullback, H-back now, and in college football. Rod Moore not playing this year. We're going to talk more about him in a second. More on Moore. Makari Page, tough year for him, honestly, and adding another leader on that defensive backfield, a senior, 2 years at Coastal Carolina, now 2 years at Michigan. One more reminder for you guys. If you'd like to beat Illinois like today's video, don't jinx it. Do not jinx this. Scroll down, like the video, because while you're doing that, I got to hit you with this, and that is Game Time. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time, the app that I use to buy Michigan, Texas tickets, the app that myself and Jack and the Chat Sports guys and birthday girl Carla use to buy tickets to the national championship game in Houston. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to events. And what I like most about Game Time is that I can see my seat. I went to a major sporting event in 2023, thought I was getting a great deal. I'm like, oh man, you see this deal? I must have got so lucky. Well, I was lucky because I had an obstruction. I thought I was getting an amazing seat to a sporting event, and I had an obstruction kind of, knocking off 20% of the field, which I'm like, okay, this is why the tickets were so damn cheap. And so if I had bought up Game Time at that time, I would have got a view from my seat, which I love. Last-minute ticket deals are always best with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS, that's CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Got some word in the bye week about Michigan's NIL plans coming off this 2024 season, which doesn't seem like it's going exactly as planned. You've had some injuries. You've had Will Johnson out. You've had 3 starting quarterbacks now for this team, with Jack Tuttle to be the starting quarterback coming up. Michigan is ready, according to sources. Now, and we've heard this in the past, but I think this is more of a grave and desperate situation. It's like we got to, we got to beep. You got to put the heart monitors on the guy, Jack. Got to, the defibrillator that back at the quarterback position at Michigan. So a lot of chatter out there. Now, Portnoy and I have committed $4 million if it's the right guy. And, of course, I want to get some YouTube media rights out of that. So we've already put our word towards that. So Michigan ready to open the NIL vault for a top quarterback transfer, if not the top quarterback transfer. Their plans, led by Sherrone Moore, led by others, Jared Wangler, et cetera, to not be outbid. Don't make it about money for any quarterback. This team thinks with the right transfer portal class that there's still enough talent that will return some linebackers, maybe some guys in the secondary we'll talk about this year, get a quarterback, feel good about the offensive line, feel good about the running back position going forward. Quarterback, maybe a couple wide receivers, 1 or 2 other positions to fill in on defense, 6 starters, maybe as many as 10 if you get the right kind of guys, but are opening it up to make this a splash this year because they didn't do anything in the transfer portal except for 1 linebacker and, of course, an offensive lineman in the portal last year for impact players. Now, they've been told that Michigan's 1 more year fund, which didn't exist last year, right? Coming off 2022, kept 5, 6, 7 guys in the fold. Maybe to help with Donovan Edwards, although I think with his season last year, he was going to come back anyways. Rod Moore is the top priority for 1 more year fund. I thought no matter what happened, Moore was a 3rd-team All-Big Ten player last year, et cetera, et cetera. I thought that Moore was gone. I thought he was going to rehab. I thought he was going to get back. Maybe come back for a playoff run should Michigan make it. But it doesn't seem like that is the case right now because his injury prospect or his injury recovery from an ACL tear suffered, was it spring practice was suffered? I can't remember. It was over the summer. Is going slower than expected. He spoke to the Michigan podcast, Michigan football podcast from the school with John Jansen, saying it's going pretty good, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the one thing that is interesting right there is I haven't started running yet because some other stuff, but we figured it out. So we're kind of going from there, trying to take a stride. Lingering injury for Rod Moore, right? Not breaking any records for fastest return from an ACL injury. So now we're in October, and if he's not running yet, you can't expect him to play competitive football, obviously, this season. But I wouldn't even be able to expect him to play competitive football, knowing that I've had 3 knee surgeries myself. I bet you didn't know that, did you, Jack? But did you, Jack? I wouldn't expect him to be playing competitive football, even if there were games by January or February. So that also means he's not going to be able to put out his best performance training for the NFL Combine. They're going to want to see him at Michigan's Pro Day, which will probably be in April, in the NFL Combine, which is at the end of February, right? So we're talking about 3 months and a couple of days, a week or 2 away. So we're talking about 100, 110 days away from the NFL Combine. You put together a package, make it smart for him to come back next year, prove what the NFL wants to see, and then potentially be a 2nd or 3rd, maybe even a 4th round draft pick in the 2026 NFL draft at that point. So I think Michigan's got two things working in their favor, although you don't want to take advantage of someone's injury. But if he's not ready, they can make it worth his while. Rod Moore may be an All-American type player, as he, I think, would have been this year, coming back in Michigan's secondary. That's expected to lose potentially Makari Page, although he could come back. Definitely, I think Will Johnson would have Jair Hill and others coming back from that starting lineup. Let's go back to Warde Manuel. All right? Warde Manuel might have advertising in the Big House to raise revenue. And I quote tweeted this. I said, fire Warde Manuel. And people are like, well, NIL. Well, it doesn't seem to me, if I'm reading the rule book right, Michigan can't sell advertising and then give it to NIL. They have to be kept separate, right? Like, that's not necessarily what NIL is, although I did see that Tennessee is going to do like a $10 per game ticket surcharge. So I don't know how that works either. Maybe the rules are changing faster than any of us know. But Warde Manuel is starting to remind me of Dave Brandon. Now, he's had more success than Dave Brandon did, right? Brandon had a team that went to the national title game in 2013 before he was fired as athletic director for just being a complete schmuck. But Manuel let Jim Harbaugh go. Manuel let Bakic go, the baseball coach. He's let Michigan's basketball, John Beilein go to the Cavs and then hired Juwan Howard, fired. Now you've let Jim Harbaugh, the national championship winning coach, go. You're just making all kinds of bad decisions if you're Warde Manuel. You've lost out on a hockey coach, right? And all kinds of bad decisions, starting to remind me of Dave Brandon in making business decisions that are just terrible for the Michigan football experience. This stadium is coming up on its 100th anniversary, right? 100-year anniversary, 1927, the biggest stadium in the United States of America, 115,000 people that could sit in the game like it did in 2013 against Notre Dame. And Warde Manuel is going to just sully the sanctity of Michigan football by putting ads in an ad-free stadium, the only ad-free stadium left, I think, in all of major college or professional athletics. And I think it would be an absolute travesty to do. So I want to know from you guys, should Michigan Stadium have ads? Comment yes or no. I forgot one thing I was going to say, right? The NIL thing was what people chirp me, but as I look deeper into Warde's quotes and others, the one thing that he did say that maybe makes sense, but it's still dumb, is that Michigan and all these schools, Jack, next year have to commit $25 million to NIL from the school funds because of this NCAA Congress ruling from last year. So it's supposed to, cover that. Give me a break, okay? Give me a break. Michigan's TV deals, revenue, sales from merchandise, apparel, et cetera, et cetera. Do what Tennessee did if you need to make up that cost, right? Charge $10 extra a game, 100,000 people a game. Simple math. That's $1 million a game. 7 home games a year. That's $7 million. I think it can be done pretty easily, not to have Meyer ads all over the stadium. So should Michigan Stadium have ads? Comment yes or no down. Yes or no down below. Let's ponder this on Jack Tuttle. Let's ponder if Michigan's season rides on him. I think the answer has got to be yes, right? If he has adequate to above average quarterback play for a Big Ten, for an SEC style quarterback, right? A team that could potentially go to the college football playoff, a top 25 team, just average play. Michigan can have a nice end of the season run, right? They've got 2 top 5 games left, home against Oregon on November 2nd, then the end of the month against Ohio State, on the road in Columbus. So I'm not going to say they're going to lose those games, but most people, they're going to be underdogs, right? They're going to be probably double-digit underdogs in both those games at this point. And the thing I've been thinking about all week after Tuttle was named, starter is why did they put Alex Orji in that game? Why did they start him if they were just waiting for Michigan to go down 14-0? You go down 14-0, you come roaring back, you up 17-0, and then the things start happening, and Tuttle has turnovers, but you start him in that game, you give you your best chance to win. I am starting to think that if Tuttle turns out to be a pretty decent player, above average quarterback, we are going to look back at that damn Washington game 2 Saturdays ago and say, Sherrone Moore and Kirk Campbell starting Alex Orji in this game, having Michigan fall down by 2 touchdowns, is the reason that Michigan is maybe 8-4, maybe 9-3 if they beat Ohio State again, of course. And then that loss to Washington will be the one thing that keeps them out of the playoff. They'll be ranked 17th or 18th. Take that loss against Washington. Boom, you're number 9. You're number 10. And that's starting to piss me off. But hopefully Tuttle is good enough to overcome, beat Oregon, beat Michigan State, beat Illinois, beat Indiana, beat Northwestern, and, of course, beat Ohio State again. This is the most impactful political slogan in the history of college football. We started in January of 2020, election year. And what's happened, right? We've had 4 years of greatness in Michigan football. Didn't lose in 2020, won in 2021, 22, 23. It's election year again. why change something if it's going well, Jack? Why change something in election year if it's going well? The slogan worked then. The slogan worked now. Comment Bosa. It's year 2024. 24 times below if you think and you want Michigan to beat Ohio State again, and if you are a real one here on the Michigan Football Report. We've been off shows for 9 days, but we are back and better than ever. Hope they have a show on for you on Thursday, maybe Friday. We'll definitely have a post-game show for you after Michigan, Illinois on Saturday, and then Overreaction Sunday coming up on Sunday. For Young Harbaugh, Jack Tuttle, I am James Yoder. Go Blue.